Welcome to Better Together, everyone, the techno nightclub.
I'm so sorry.
Kelsey was late starting the show because she was doing a social media post. Ugh, these
and
millennials.
Now we're doing dubstep. What is
it was
happening?
For us. And now she chose a really horrific, like, we're trying to work on the music, guys, but she really just posted maybe the worst song
that was
ever.
Horrible. I shut it off early.
Congratulations, Kelsey, on this beautiful Monday morning. I'm trying to get my mic to actually work under the table here. September 21st. Our quote of the day comes from our guest today. Life will present. Yeah, I want to be free. Wow. Well, happy Monday, everybody. Hope you guys had a great weekend. We had a snake-filled weekend over here in Connecticut. We'll get to that in a second. Today, we're going to be featuring celebrated mental coach. He's worked with Ben Affleck, Tom Cruise, Nicole Kidman as their exclusive trainer. He's the mind architect, Peter Crone. We're going to discuss how we can overcome the perceived limitations in our own minds to become more free. And before we get to him, we have a special friend joining. My friend Dane Cook is going to be joining us to discuss that incredible Fast Times table read from last week, where he reunited Jennifer Aniston and Brad Pitt for a very steamy scene, which was hilarious and so exciting and like shot heard around the world. So we're going to talk to Dane about how we put it together. And it's, I feel like Dane is such an incredible story because he hustles. He's had to come back from nothing to something to so much. And he's really, really, you talk about somebody who's endured hardships. He lost both his parents to cancer, lost everything in his career at the hands of his brother. Really, really challenging circumstances he's had to overcome. So I find him super inspirational. So I'm glad that we're going to have him on the show today. In the meantime, click subscribe if you're on YouTube. If you haven't already, please subscribe. Help us build out this community and this Heal Squad. We launched an Instagram. It's pretty fun. Better Together with Maria. So join us over there and get your inspirational daily quotes, clips, and so much more. A lot of really fun animal videos too, because that's just what we love. And if you haven't joined our Patreon, please do. We know times are tough, so anything you can do obviously is amazing as we're building out the show, and we're going to be taking it over there completely at some point, but along with the ad-free episodes, which is super enticing, you also get extra content, and we're starting these incredible workshops. We did one like 2 weeks ago with Saad de Simone that was amazing. Kevin was like, I have to listen to it a second time. It was so life-changing for him. And the next one we have coming up is Catherine Woodward Thomas, who wrote Conscious Uncoupling, and she is going to be joining us. She's going to do 2 meditations, a visioning meditation and a meditation to help us deal with triggering emotions. And she's going to walk us through that and kind of help us through those challenges. So we're really excited. So please join us. If you go to my Instagram at Maria Menounos or even at Better Together, the link trees are there. And you can just click on them and join us at any level. Before we get to Dane, we're going to talk Good News Movement Monday. Oh. Here we have a drop. Let's hear it.
Are you ready for this?
Don't disappoint me.
Good News Monday.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
That was all Jeff.
Wow. You know what? It's pretty awesome. I love it.
Good.
One step further would have been if you were singing it, Jeff.
Oh, that would have been
So I think
good.
we need to get... That was you?
That was me.
You didn't know, Kelsey?
No, I had no idea.
I had a weird feeling. Isn't that so funny?
I had no idea.
But because you guys didn't tell me it was you, then I was like, oh, it must,
Jeff,
wow.
I don't know why. I was like, it's some random person.
No, I recorded it in the office on my phone.
Yay! I love it.
Yeah, I stacked my voice on top of itself.
So good.
That's so good. Oh, how creative and how perfect to use your talents in every area.
I'm still waiting for our Better Together band to start.
Yeah, we're going to do that for sure.
It'll happen.
For sure. Okay, so Good News Movement Monday, brought to you by Jeff Graham. I love it. is a story that I really loved. It was one of their more recent posts about a billionaire who was determined to give away all his money. Jeff, tell us.
Yeah, this is incredible. It's Charles Chuck Feeney, who's a billionaire, and his goal was to die broke. And because of that, he's given away $8 billion of his fortune to charity. He co-founded the airport retailer Duty Free Shoppers. I'm sure you guys have seen those duty free.
Yeah.
Love him.
So he's done pretty well for himself. But he's a firm believer in giving while living, and he's donated $8 billion through his foundation, Atlantic Philanthropies, to various charities, universities, and foundations. It's Warren Buffett, who you guys know, another celebrated, very, very wealthy man, says he's a model for all of us. It's going to take me 12 years after my death to get done what he's doing within his lifetime. So to see someone who's alive and giving away his charities, that's what it's about, you know?
Absolutely. A friend of mine's dad, I don't know if you guys, you've met Andrew Lee, Jeff, right?
Yeah, I haven't met Andrew Lee through Kevin, actually.
So his dad, Jerry Lee, always used to say, give with a warm hand. And it was always inspiring to me. And Kevin is just such a great example of that too, is like always just giving. Let's not, sugarcoat it. You do get some grief sometimes when you give a lot somehow, some way. But anyway, that's another story. But the truth is giving is a beautiful thing to do. And whether people appreciate it or not, or whether they hurt you or they betray you or whatever can come of that, because I know that a lot of people get scarred, it's still the best way to live. And to give with a warm hand is a really great thing. So many people, you can't take it with you, right? And and most people end up fighting over it all anyway after. So I liked what he was doing. I thought it was really inspiring, and I think these are the days where you need to see that people like him exist.
Absolutely. And he's going to reap the benefits of the joy of giving. If you give it all away after you pass away, you don't get the beautiful feeling in return of giving. And so he deserves to enjoy that while he's still with us.
Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep.
All right. Let's pull Dane Cook into this conversation. First of all, he did not see our snake rescue. And I'm really sad that you didn't see our big snake rescue. I think you would have gotten such a kick out of it. I'm a farm girl now, Dane, here in Connecticut. I get on the tractor, I mow the lawn, I rescue frogs and little mice. And I gave a mouse a proper burial yesterday because he got attacked by a cat. And so,
I threw it.
How many feet was the snake?
What was it?
How many feet was the snake?
He was a couple feet for sure from me.
Couple feet?
From me. He was probably like 1 foot.
Yeah, he was pretty tiny.
Yeah,
he
was a little guy. But you know what was funny, Dane? So at first when I saw him down, it was just right over there, and he turned his little head and he's looking at me, and I'm like, oh shit, this is gonna be a battle. And I just started talking to him, and I'm like, I'm not here to hurt you. I just want to help you. I want to give you, a safe exit back into the wild. We're going to do this together. We're better together. And I thought he was going to fight me, and he didn't. He was really pretty gentle. And then when I released him, he turned around and looked at me again, and I was like, oh, are we friends? So I started patting him, and he wasn't moving. And I was like, oh, I think he understood me. I know that sounds crazy, but I have a connection with animals. So
are you comfortable now that this garden snake ultimately might go bring some friends back for you to have another powwow with? You might have a little nest.
Yeah, well, we had a massive snake nest that was born a few weeks ago. So we walked outside, and all these black snakes started slithering all over the place, and they were going into the pool and swimming, and it was insane. So that's what happens. But I make one with the animals.
I have a friend who moved to Australia a few years ago, and he sends me, because he went from pretty much city to this, nature area where some of the stuff he sends me, I think, are photoshopped. It's like spiders that are like this big in his window or crawling in his basement. It's just,
yeah, that would not work for me.
Yeah, no. See, I've always been like a beach or a nice hotel kind of guy. I can't do anything in between. I don't camp. I don't want to be out in some kind of field of wheat with potential critters. I give you a lot of credit for what you're doing.
Well, it's been fun. It's been fun. I'm so excited to have you on today because I was telling everybody that you are such an inspiration for everyone because you've dealt with so much hardship in your life and you've had to come back again and again and again. And I think that, I really do look forward to you kind of telling your own like Rocky. I really feel like you have something like that in you.
It's coming. I finished a book.
Oh,
I spent
well,
the
there you go.
last year and a half. Well, I started the book because this is year 30 of stand-up. So I knew going into this year, having started in 1990 out of Boston, I was like, okay, I want to write a book kind of talking about exactly what you're saying. How can you overcome sometimes insurmountable odds? And sometimes, by the way, an impossible moment will happen to you in life that capsizes you, and you think, oh, the pendulum's gonna swing now, I'll be okay. But that's not how life works. Sometimes it's a lot of things in a row that seemingly are just taking you out completely. So the book is a funny tale of how I created my own brand, how I made it in stand-up, but how did I make it through the perils of life and do it staying optimistic?
Yeah. Yeah. And not turning to vices and things like that. I mean, from what I know of you.
Right. Yeah, no, never imbibing for the sake of trying to, push something down or ignore it. As a matter of fact, you're one of the people that I credit as such a great source of getting myself back up and into like a regular routine. And you may not even know this, but after the stuff happened, excuse me, with my brother, you're the first person who brought me back to Boston. You invited me to go to that Celtics game. We went back for the playoffs, and I told you, I was like, oh, I don't know. I haven't really felt what it is like to be back there since, for people who don't know, I had to put my brother in jail, essentially, for stealing from the company that I'd started and that he was then working for. So it was a lot of stress and anxiety, but you're like, no, I'm going to set you up at a great hotel that you're going to love because I love architecture. And I went and stayed at this place, and you and I went to the game, and we went and ate at like some food, like someplace in Medford.
We did a whole taste of Medford. It was the best day ever.
We did. But it was it was a great reminder of things are going to get better. You got to keep your eyes on the prize, and with great friends, great people around you, then you can get past some of those impossible moments.
Yeah, it's like facing your fear. It's so interesting because I forgot that was a thing because, my memory of it is we just like last minute the night before said, screw it, let's go see the Celtics game 6, Orlando Magic. And this was the 2008 series when we ended up eventually winning the NBA championship. Right. But I remember driving up 93 North at like right at the Stroh Drive area, and you go, that's where my brother is right now. And it was the jail. And I remember it vividly because when we were here just recently driving in Boston, I saw it again and I had like that deja vu moment.
Yeah. Yeah, that was absolutely, and I cover all this in the book, that whole it's like 3 acts in some respect. It's the act 1 of the book is what was it like being an insecure, very kind of lonely, socially not a very awkward kid to this comedy, thing that it was taking me to the upper heights of all my dreams and pipe dreams. And then of course, what happened when I hit that middle part where my parents got sick and my brother, backlash and all this stuff that kind of goes with somebody who is self-made. And that whole center part of the book is so caustic, but I find myself laughing a lot as I'm writing and as I've finished the book now, going, I think this is not only going to inspire people, but I feel like I handled it in a way that is still very entertaining.
I like that.
Even the bad stuff is you can find some great ways to connect with people. I hope.
Isn't it so funny that I just said that and that's exactly what you're doing? I just feel it.
Yeah. Well, the pandemic, good or bad, brought 2 things out of me. One, because it took me off stage. Everybody's livelihoods has been kind of like thrown into disarray. And so I couldn't perform. I haven't performed since March. I was getting incredibly, I felt like I was in a rut. And although I enjoy home, I'm a person who's really loved to get things done outside of the industry. I did find myself starting to go a little cuckoo and was like, maybe I can finish this book. And so I just set my eyes on it. And for like 6 weeks, I finished what would have probably taken me the rest of the year. And now it's done and we're trying to figure out where it should be. And then while that was finishing, I put together this crazy live read that somehow worked and came together.
Okay, so perfect transition. Fast Times at Ridgemont High. I remember you texting me in the middle of the pandemic asking if I knew any actresses that would be interested in this, and I'm like looking back at my texts, and I was like pitching Ileana Douglas and like different people that I thought could be like amazing actors for this too.
Right. And they would have been, yes.
Yeah.
You were giving me some great names.
And you were just so determined. So okay, you were so determined and you were putting this together, and all of a sudden, I think it was on Friday, I'm looking at Twitter and what's trending but this table read, because you got amazing actors, 100%, but you got Jennifer Aniston and Brad Pitt to reunite and have like a steamy scene of sorts together, and it was shot heard around the world. And again, as I was texting you, I'm so proud of you. I love watching something go from inception to there. And I know some of the names that you were reaching out to that passed, that now, of course, want to be a part of it. And I'm not going to say anything because that's up to you. But it's amazing to watch that journey. And so congratulations, because it was a huge success. So tell us a little bit more about kind of how it came together and what we don't know.
Yeah, like just very quickly, I guess the spark came from, I knew that we weren't going to have summer movies. I knew we weren't going to have those kind of big, impact moments just on the entertainment side. But we were having all these big, very impactful moments culturally, and of course with the coronavirus and things that were affecting us in some ways that were, causing us to feel more integrated and connected, but still that brings a lot of stress. That's a lot of work. And then the pandemic, which is breaking us apart, and that's a lot of stress, a lot of work. And we didn't really have those little in-between entertainment things that I felt like were the moment of escapism to then fuel working on both of those and then other things. And I was like, I've been doing this a long time. What can I do beyond just some of the stuff that I saw, which was like people going live and like just chatting with like their fan base? I was looking for one of those things that encapsulated a global audience. I was like, can I capture a global audience here? Can I do that? And then I remembered in 2001 sitting on MySpace and on my computer and saying, I think I can use this as a window to capture an audience beyond just regionally. And so I started, shaking hands with people digitally. And I remembered that kid doing that and saying, wait, I can use this again. And I had an idea for a table read a couple of years ago that I wanted to do because I love doing them. They're a lot of fun. So I had like this Inside the Actors Studio meets a table read virtually that was in my mind. And I've known Sean Penn, and I've known the core organization that he helms with Ann Lee and a great group of people. And when those two things popped into my head, I was like, I'm going to call Sean. I'm going to see if he would do this table read, because I know with his, partnership, I know we could get amazing people. Mm-hmm. And then I'd feel more comfortable texting some people I do know or kind of know and saying like, all right, we got these other people. Would you do it? So I call up Sean Penn and chat with him for a little bit. And I have been working with Core, so he was, we're familiar. And I said, I have an idea, and I know you're probably going to say no, but I want to throw it to you anyway. And I tell him, Fast Times at Ridgemont High, virtual table read. And he takes a long pause, and then he was like, let's go, let's do it. And then he said immediately, he goes, but I'm not playing Spicoli. And I was like, that's okay. And then he actually, now I can tell this, it's been a secret. He was like, but I know who should play Spicoli. And I was like, all right, who? And he was like, we should go for Shia. And I was like, wow, that would be amazing. So he took care of that. I started texting people, and I think Julia Roberts was the first to jump on. And then I text Jennifer Aniston, and she was so excited. And she said what I felt and what we all felt. She was like, I just want to bring a lot of happiness to people right now. I said, I promise you that's what this is going to be. And so that was the start of the whole thing.
Wait, can we just rewind? You texted Jennifer Aniston. How do you know Jennifer Aniston in a text relationship way? I want to know. Is she just a fan of your comedy? Did you guys work together? Why? How?
Okay, so fun fact, Jennifer Aniston actually worked at the Laugh Factory for 2 weeks before she booked a pilot for a TV show called Friends. She worked at the factory. She was there.
Shut the front door.
She walked in the door, application, got the job, and then Jamie Masada, who owns the factory, says to me, she comes to me 2 weeks later, she goes, I'm so sorry, can I have this job back if this pilot doesn't go? I just booked a pilot. He's like, door's always open. He's like, what's the show? And she goes, it's called Friends.
Oh my God, mind blown.
So I kind of felt like I had a synergy with Jennifer Aniston all the way back. But when I text her, you know, she was, I mean, this is like, you know, this is, I'm not trying to like make it more fluffy. She could not have been more delightful, game, excited, leaning into it. And again, I knew once those first few names were in there, then when Brad Pitt and other people started coming in, I was like, yes. I was like, yes, this is going to happen.
Was Jen before Brad?
Yes. Yeah.
So then Brad had to be like, oh yeah, I'm in.
Well, yeah, I'm sure. Like once his team talked to him, I'm sure it was just like, all right, here's who's already in there so far. But there was no hesitation. There was no rules. There was no nothing. Just want people to know there wasn't anything like, were they not allowed? No. Zero, no drama. They both logged in. What you saw was absolutely what we had hoped, which was just nice engagement between two massive, incredibly talented people.
Wild. Okay.
Yeah, but it fell apart a lot. It fell apart many times.
Really?
Yes. Yeah. The dilemma was we wanted to do this back like April, and I think it fell apart completely at least 5 times. There were life things happening in the world, and the protests started, and that put the pause on it, and then it just stopped. And it really, after a little bit, I started feeling like, I don't know if this is going to come to fruition, but it was Sean at that point who reached out to me and was like, let's not give up on this. I know we're going to find a way to be able to do this. And that's when Reform Alliance came in, because we wanted to also, like, at first it was for core, for the COVID testing. And then we realized we wanted to help more people. We wanted to help more organizations, because now this is a whole other culture we're living in. And then Reform came in, and I was like even more grateful. And that kind of got it going again and brought it to the finish line.
So cool. So here's a story and the lesson, guys, right? And oh man, it's so good. Because the obvious lesson is, you know, if you don't succeed, try again, and keep pushing after rejection and rejection 5 times, however many times it broke down. But the biggest lesson in this is what we learned, us 3, at Business Mastery, Tony Robbins Business Mastery Seminar. Ask better questions. So you didn't sit there in the pandemic and say, what can I do? You are specific, and you said, how can I reach a global audience? And that's really what you asked when you sat in front of that MySpace thing. So for people who don't know, you were the first one to take MySpace and use it the way you did, and then started selling out freaking Staples Center and, you know, crushing all comics, you know, from out of nowhere, like just killing it, because you ask big, specific questions.
Great point.
And that is a recipe right there for success for anyone who's listening right now.
Yeah, I think it's also coupling that idea with, I have learned over the years that the boundaries, the obstacles, and the full stops are where there's a lot of great information. A lot of the opportunities I've had in life that I have met, you know, because you have to meet an opportunity. It's not all you. It's a lot of other people and things, but it is your compass from your perspective. When you hit those stops, full stops, a lot of information in there. And I find that's normally where it's catapulted me to that next level of where I want to be. So always look for that. The failure moment is actually a lot of the best ingredients for the whole recipe.
Interesting. Yeah, and for the next success.
Absolutely. I look forward to, this is so crazy to say this. I look forward to when the puzzle falls apart, because I know I was probably doing it the wrong way. And even though it's more work and it's frustrating because it's more time, I know that I'm getting there when things start to fall away. That's when I know.
I mean, if that isn't the greatest quote slash piece of advice slash inspiring, oh my God, Dane, you really, yeah, you're pretty remarkable. I love that. I really, really love that. That is so helpful. It gives me something to hold on to where it's like, oh, maybe I should be, people say like enjoy the ride and all these things, but like enjoy the puzzle falling apart. I
Right.
love that.
Yeah, enjoy being on that cusp of fear, because when you get that trepidation inside of you, where like you're afraid, you're literally just like, I'm afraid. That's where the good stuff is. That in everything in life is where you go, oh, this is where my body's telling me to stop, something primal. But remember this. This is the best thing therapy ever taught me, and I had to do a lot of it after my parents and brother-in-law. There's a thin line between anxious and excitement. Between anxious and excitement, it's very thin, and you have to train yourself to go, sometimes I'm excited and I'm not scared, but I'm telling myself, because it's the same feeling in my body, that I can't do it. But that's something you need to figure out, the coding in yourself to go, no, that thin line, maybe I'm just really excited about winning and I'm not as scared about losing.
Wow.
Yeah.
So cool. So
yeah, very, very cool.
So you're going to start coaching people. Perfect.
I do. I will admit, I love mentoring. Like especially people in the industry, musicians or comedians. It's nice to be able to say, hey, this is the stuff I did wrong, and I'm trying to help you to maybe possibly not be completely taken advantage of.
Yeah.
But you got to make your mistakes to make it. So my mentoring is usually very like, make your mistakes, but what do you learn from those moments, as opposed to like trying to prevent somebody from, not having any hardship. That you're not going to get anywhere unless you have hardship. You need a good dose of hardship.
Yeah, for sure. So okay, so
Teaches
what's
you empathy as well,
100%. So what's next? Are you going to be doing more table reads? Is there another one lined up?
Yeah, I mean, I hope so. I'd love to continue it. It's definitely an idea for a show that I've had. So if we get a partner or somebody that wants to do it more on the regular, then we're open to that. But for me, it's really just continuing to then now work on the book stuff. And then I have a few other irons in the fire, and I'm just finding that I'm getting a lot of things accomplished in the quarantine that I never really thought that I would have all the time to put into. But now I'm finding those are the things that I actually should have been putting more time into.
Wow. I can't wait to hear about everything.
Yeah, we'll talk about it when I finish the next cool thing.
I love it. Well, when I come back to LA at some point, we'll have to do a social distance catch up.
Yes, I hope not. I hope maybe by then we won't need to do that, but yes, one way or the other.
I know. It's
we could talk about our Celtics.
I mean, come on. It's like amazing. I'm watching here, and every 2 seconds I'll be like, oh, we got to go to we can't go to a game. Shit, we can't go to a game. But it's been really fun watching them. A couple heartbreakers too, where you're like, oh my God, we were at like a 17-point lead or even 19 points, and then it just like a wet sandwich just goes right through our fingertips. But
it's because you're watching these, this group of people that are so talented, but still they're so kind of, many of them are so young that those moments get a little too big for them. So collectively, they have to remind themselves that like, no, we really have to we have to stay as a team and get through this whole thing. That's what time teaches you, right? That it's like, you don't quite have it. You don't have it until you have it.
Yeah.
You don't have it until you wake up the next day and you had it. So they're learning on the fly, and they're very gifted. Oh. Tatum especially, it's amazing. You're watching like you're watching something very special, and I'm glad it's our team that we're watching.
I know. We're so lucky. All right. Well, actually, one last question for you. Are you watching Tom as well? Are you confused as a fan like me a little bit where you have to keep tabs on him too?
Yeah, I watch both games.
Okay.
And it's great to. I mean, he's the example of like when you want to continue to push yourself for excellence. That's a great example. You're feeling a little tired. You're feeling like physically you can't do A, B, and C. Not everybody's going to be Tom Brady in terms of like the conditioning and the people he has around him, but everybody has the ability to think like that. That's what I look at. He has the ability to think himself into winning situations, and I love that. So yeah, I'm watching him.
I love it. Well, Dane,
Yeah.
congrats on everything. Thanks for taking the time to share all that with us, but especially even just like those really kind of inspiring bits there, I think is really amazing for everybody who's listening.
It's great to see you, and congratulations on everything. You're a big inspiration. I find myself many, many times going like, oh, I remember when Maria was just doing this, and now she's got all this. And so it's nice to be affiliated from where we're from as a couple of local winners.
Yeah, that's right.
We done good, kid.
We have, and I'm always just grateful for our friendship, and the mutual support is always nice too.
Totally.
All right. Well, we'll see you soon, bud.
All right, Double M. I'll talk to you later.
Bye, Dane. Oh, that was so amazing. How inspiring is that?
Oh my gosh.
Right?
So good.
Like, that's a whole episode in itself.
Truly.
Well, the truth is, comedians are always wise because they have to be smart to be funny. And
Yeah.
I find that, like,
Good point.
that's why I love my Fair Share of Comedy podcasts, is because with the right interviewers, and I will say that's an important ingredient, you can really see the brilliant brain behind these comics.
Yeah.
And when Dane is promoting that book, we have to bring him back.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. A comic has to know people so well, right? And because that's how you push the buttons.
Yep.
And so, yeah, I mean, I just think, like I said from the top, he's already answered questions that you have in your mind that I don't want to like interject and ruin a flow.
Yeah. He knows the questions too. He knows what you're going to say. I mean, and he kept interjecting. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a this, but I firmly believe that. And there's scientific proof, so.
Can we discuss that Kelsey just raised her hand and she's got a novel written on it?
Oh, 100%.
Like her whole hand is all writing. Are those notes from the show?
Yeah. Well, that we have to watch My Octopus something and that. Yeah. All the good stuff that comes up that I think
that
about.
Prison
Me too. I wrote
video.
that down too.
Yeah.
Step inside the circle.
Step inside the circle. Damn, guys. What a good day.
What a great day.
Tomorrow we're going to be featuring, I'm so excited. How do we keep topping ourselves?
Woo!
Okay, tomorrow my friend Dean Graziosi is going to be here. I'm so excited. He has conquered so many industries. He's a self-help guru, but he's a real estate mogul. He's just amazing. He was my partner at Date with Destiny at Tony Robbins. We became very good friends, and he's now running Tony's company, which is amazing. So we're going to learn so much from him. Do not miss tomorrow's episode. And if you like today's episode, check out episode number 51 with Trevor Moad, whose philosophies on performance coaching can equally enhance and optimize your life. If you haven't already, social out a favorite episode, tell your friends about our show. Please help us bring more people to this community. Listen to the people that we're having on this show. They're helping so much. Share that. Don't hoard it. Don't hoard the good info. Share the good info. No, it really is helpful for us. We're really trying so hard. And we're